adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
We are Dirty D's. Get ready to experience AC/DC like you never have before.
Fast-paced, hard rock and roll show.
The sound is huge, just infectious.
It's like a runaway train. It's like, wow! We capture the sound, the look, and the power of AC/DC. It's a high-octane show. The crowd is all part of it, and we all feed off one another. We meticulously studied every sweat-soaked moment of AC/DC's performances, and then added a few twists of our own. From the cannon, the bagpipes, the bell, the lights, the sound, and we put it all together to make a world-class performance for the crowd.
239-56. You can say she got it all.
We like to make it interactive. Bob does a lot with the fans.
Really get the fans involved in the show all the time.
We're trying to give the fans and the audience a night out that they'll never forget.
They deserve to see a spectacle, and that's what we try to deliver. Matt does the character of Angus pretty spot on. If you come to see this show, if it's quiet, it's by design.
We try to keep the fans on that ride with us.
We like to take them on that roller coaster.
From the first note to the cannon's finale, this is one high-energy rocket show you will not want to miss.
Dirty D's, the AC/DC experience, an experience like no other. Let there be rock.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and very excited because we're doing an interview here with a band that's playing the fair tonight, the South Florida Fair, and they're there at the fair now, so let's welcome to the show Bob from Dirty Deeds, the AC/DC experience.
How you doing, everyone?
So, I got to tell you, even without being on stage, you look like Brian.
Yeah, maybe I should have put the cap on before we did the podcast.
Right, right.
We're actually the same height and everything. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, that's kind of wild. You know,
Yeah.
how does that happen? Did you? I'm just joking, but did you decide that, okay, we're the same height, that's who I'm gonna emulate?
No, actually, about 25 years ago, I joined another AC/DC tribute. I auditioned for it and got it. But the guy doing Angus got sick, so I started Dirty Deeds shortly after that. But the reason my wife was responsible for this, she said that audition for that show because I think you'll get that gig. You sound like them. And
It's always the woman. It's always the
Yeah.
woman. Like they're always the one that get you those gigs.
She said that was my niche.
And it is because you guys are like pretty spot on, and you really put a lot into it. Like there's tribute bands that they do it, and then there's tribute bands like yours that, man, you just make it a whole experience. And it's so good that you guys tour the whole country.
Yes. The thing is we really work on the detail, the fine detail. And that goes right down to the effects, like the cannons. We have cannons, but they fire. They actually do fire, but it's not pyro. It's the effect. They fire, and they work very well. And we're doing them today at this fair. And we have the bell. We couldn't put it up there today because of the winch. So some places you can't bring everything in, But at this
Yeah,
one,
totally.
we'll be firing the cannons today, anyways.
Nice.
And
And you
we,
even
it,
have the bagpipes too.
yes, we added a girl from Scotland. Her name's Mary Beth, and we added her in the show, and she's a big part of the group now. She's a member.
I think that's great. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Because you want to emulate the band you're doing tribute for, but you also want to make it your own too.
yeah. Well, that's what we try to do. In other words, we're not ACDC, but we're trying to link. Nate does all the production. We're trying to tell the story from the Bond era all the way to now. And to do that, you have to. We got video that goes along with everything. There's even nostalgic things that come up and ask people questions. There's so much video content that it really adds to the show as well. And
That's cool.
everybody tries to emulate the people they're doing,
Yeah.
but still be
I
themselves.
I love it. I love it. And so I want to ask you too. Okay, so Bon Scott era compared
Yeah.
to Brian's era, like, do you feel more affinity towards the Brian era because you sound just like him?
No, it's you have to do both if
Right.
they're really a tribute to AC/DC. And I actually look more like Brian, but there's times I can even sound more like Bon. With
That's cool.
if we for the right songs, not everyone, but the right songs, I got that sound to sound like him. And I'm glad that we can do both because there were two great singers in AC/DC, not just one.
100%. I like both, and I'm
Yeah,
even, I'm Team Bon Scott because I started there.
yeah,
Like most people that start with the original, they're usually like that original, but you like the other
yeah,
too. It's just like, I'm the
yeah,
same way with Iron Maiden. Okay, I loved
mhm,
Paul Di'Anno. I like
yeah,
Bruce too, but
yeah,
I like Paul Di'Anno because that's where I
yeah.
started.
No, it's weird. There's very few bands in history that got a new singer and succeeded. AC/DC are one of them. But there's
Yep.
only a handful of bands that have pulled that off. I think Van Halen has too. I mean, there's certain groups that can have another singer and still survive it. And AC/DC is one of them.
Well, what's interesting too, okay, you mentioned Van Halen, and I think Hagar and Roth are very different front people, but their voices
Yeah,
aren't even the same. Whereas I think you take with ACDC or Iron Maiden, the voices, when they're
yeah,
finding that new singer, it's so similar.
yeah, the rasp is in there
Yeah.
in the feel. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
And
are different. Probably was a bad comparison, but they're both David Lee Roth and Hagar were very good in Van Halen. You
right.
don't hate
Well,
one
it
or
was
love
a
one
good
more than the other.
example. It was a good example because both versions of the band were extremely successful. It's,
Yep.
it's funny because I'm more into Roth, but they were way more
Yeah.
successful with Hagar.
Yeah. Well, he's more melodic. The songs got more melodic,
Yeah,
more commercial.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, did you always feel, even before your wife said anything, did you always feel like if you did karaoke that you would pick AC/DC or that you had that close affinity to it?
Well, I had a cover band out there that did every group, you know, and when I did the AC/DC or anything with a rasp, any of those '80s metal bands, I had it fit me more.
Yeah.
So I went that direction, but I had a cover band before this, and then the cover band did originals, and then we ended up even on MTV. I had one of the MTV basement tapes back in
Wow.
1987 with my
Wow.
original stuff.
That's
Ended up
pretty
with a
cool.
ended up recording and that whole spiel, and it was so much fun doing it. So I miss those days, but now I'm Brian Johnson.
Yeah, there you go. And the '80s, oh my, I miss them too. And I just did radio coverage on this rock cruise called Shiprocked. I just got off of it a couple days ago.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is, and
That's
they had an '80s theme this year. So they
yeah.
had. It was interesting because they had bands they call them stowaways. People, the bands that weren't on the set list, that
Yeah.
on the lineup, that just came on and would perform songs together, like people that never played together before, songs they never did. And it was
Yep.
really cool to see these artists portray some 80s stuff that wasn't their style of music and kill it. I think
Yeah.
it's fun too for you, the artist, right, to do stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So I got a heck of a lot of fun doing that. You know, that boat that you did it on, it seems like there's a lot of cruises that's so popular now, that Monsters of Rock, and they all get on the boats. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing. And you know what's interesting? Because I go on tour and I cover festivals all over the US, UK, and Europe. And the boats are a different animal, not just for the artist, but it's like, so the artists don't feel like they can't be out with the people
Yeah,
because the
in other
people are
words, they
kind
feel
of
comfortable.
cool with them. You know,
Yeah.
the people that are on there, they're acting cool. I think part of it we were talking about is that you're going to be on the boat with these people for a week and they're
Yep.
on the boat. So you're not like so fanboy, fangirl out there like, oh my God, I have to
Yeah.
talk to
Yeah.
them right now or I'll never get to again.
So that makes them real comfortable too, as well. The
Yeah.
artists, they
Yeah.
just feel like they're hanging with everybody. Yeah, that's
E-
cool. I got
Exactly.
to
And
get
they
on
even
one.
say
I
it.
got to get on one of those just to see it. I never went to like actually see it.
Oh,
Nathan has.
it's the most amazing experience. Like I've never done it, and they've asked me to
Yeah.
cover this cruise for years, and I just never did it because I'm usually like
Yeah.
out of country. This year, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I will. I will do it every year now, and I'll do other
Yep.
ones too. It was the most like I love festivals, but this was a whole nother level. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I got to make a point of going to go out on one of those just to enjoy it myself and see what it's all about. I hear a lot
Oh
of good
yeah.
things about it.
Oh yeah. It's all positive. That's the good news about it.
Yeah.
Like even it surprises me even after COVID that people complain about concerts and festivals still, but they
Yeah.
do. But on these cruises, nobody complains. Like I don't see anybody complaining, hear anybody complain,
Yeah.
and it's just like a big family. It's pretty cool.
Well,
So
I'm gonna try it out myself.
yeah, they should do. You know what? They should do a cruise that's just tribute bands. That would be kind of cool,
Yeah, that would be cool. You know, we wouldn't mind doing something like that ourselves, to be honest
right?
with you. I was on a cruise ship once, just on vacation, and you get to sit with the captain and eat dinner because we had a nice
Exactly.
suite on the boat. And the captain's, that's what I did for a living. I told him I was in an ACDC tribute. And he goes, I would love to get you guys on this boat. And I
Oh,
was like blown away. I was like, wow.
that is cool. Well, you guys do put on a great show too. Like everything I've seen, like it's way beyond what you see in a tribute band. Like you could be ACDC, even though you're not ACDC, the
Yeah.
kind of show you're putting on, like you could easily be it.
Well, thank you for that compliment because we work hard on it, and it really has a lot to do with the production crew. I mean, we literally
Yes.
have meetings of how it's all going to get pieced together, and even to this point, we're going to change the show again. But we talk about how we're going to string it and where it's going to go. We just don't. We find what works and we keep it, and what don't work, we know automatically. Let's pass on that. You know,
Yeah,
but it keeps
exactly.
getting more and more refined.
And so, how do you decide what songs to do? Do you decide it based on the ones that you could perform most like ACDC or based on what people would want to hear?
You got to make sure you do the hits for the sake of the people that
Yeah.
are not that sophisticated to the group you're doing, whether it be ACDC or Led Zeppelin or Van Halen or whatever you're attributing. But you got to make sure, for the sake of the fans that really don't know much about it, do those hits first, and then we pick the best B cuts, and then we try to mix it up. Usually, just to mix it up, so the people that came back again and again, you give them something new.
Yeah.
You
And do
know,
you
but
have a song that you prefer to perform most of all, your favorite one to perform?
it's crazy. My favorite song's always been "Let There Be Rock." only because what it's about.
Yeah.
And me and Matt go out in the audience with it, and I watch the people come alive because we stop filming them. With the podcast thing, we got the
Hmm.
camera goes around. They look at themselves, and we all love to have our 15 minutes of fame. So they're
Yeah.
loving every minute of it, and it works out good. But that was only
100%.
added, but that was added to our show by a mistake. I just happened to be
See?
taking pictures, and Nate came over with a camera, and then all of a sudden we realized, hey, that's going to work. So that's
The
how it all.
best things happen by mistake, don't they, sometimes?
Yeah, yeah. But the
So,
people are the biggest part of our show. We make sure that we interact with them constantly through the whole show.
and have you played the South Florida Fair before?
No, this is our first time here. He wanted to get us a couple years ago, but the agency we're in, we do have a lot of work. It never lined up, but this time it did.
I love it. Now, you haven't played yet, but you've seen the atmosphere of the fair. What have you thought so far on your limited exposure?
I think it's going to be a good night. I get a good feeling from it. The vibe of the whole fair. I think it's going to be kind of magical tonight.
Yeah,
I think
I
it'll be
think
really
so
good.
too. I think so too because I've been to a lot of fairs, and as far as music goes, South Florida Fair is one of my favorites as far as for music
Yeah.
goes. They really, yeah, all the artists I ever talk to too, they always have something good to say, and that's hard to get, right?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for tonight. Then from here we pop over to Myrtle Beach. We're playing up
nice.
at Caroline Opry in Myrtle Beach on
That's pretty
February
cool,
1st. So we're gonna stay in West Palm for a few nights to hang.
and
So
have a little bit of fun.
maybe we'll pop by here tomorrow night as the audience and just have a good time too.
There you go. It is a good
Yeah,
time at the fair for
yeah.
sure. Do you have a story that is like the wildest, funniest story of this whole ACDC tribute experience?
I have one that's kind of funny, but because of who I brought up on stage, yeah, I guess it's a short story, but it's just kind of funny. We were playing in Portugal uh, with Extreme, and they had tributes on the show. It's an 8-day festival. It's kind of similar to this. They kind of shut down the island of Terceta, and
Uh huh.
it's a big party on the beach. So we're playing in Portugal. So we're hanging with the Betancourts for the week because they're there for the week as well. So the night we're playing, Nuno wanted to come up and play with us. So we said, no problem, come on up. So our guitar player, Nuno had brought his own amp. His brother put it up on the stage, and our guitar player had his amp. But our guitar player might have felt intimidated. I don't know what it was. He didn't want to play. So Nuno sat in, and we did Shook Me All Night Long. And that Nuno picked that. He says, I want to do that one because it's a hit. And
Nice.
then he's leaning over on me and he's going, can I do another one? And I started realizing
Wow.
who I was playing with and watching the faces of the people. I said, you can do the rest of the show if you want. So
Amazing.
that was one of my good stories, but it was fun to be with them for the week. Just know them as people like you did on that boat.
Yep.
You said everyone just kind of you get to know the other side of the artist rather than just, you know, the stigma of who they're supposed to be.
Right.
And they're great people. Yeah.
It's even interesting because they have artist catering on the boat, and most of the artists don't even go to artist catering. They just eat at the buffet with everybody else.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
One night,
Nobody's bothering them. They're being cool. And so then they want to talk to you because you're being cool and not like jumping on them.
well, it happened to us at another show like that. We played with 3 tributes, and they had asked the woman to put the show on and said, where are you going to be when we put a song together? We did Come Together with 3 tributes, and we all sang a verse of the Beatles song. And they go, where are you going to be? I says, I'm going to be out there in the audience with the people. And she says, no, I'm on it. I'm serious. Where are you going to be? And I said, out there with the people.
Yeah.
And
There it
that's
is.
that's where she had to call me in from. Because
So,
I was listening to the other bands and enjoying it.
well, because let's call it what it is. Every artist is a fan. So,
Yeah.
they want to be out there.
Yeah, I just love that we got a band of guys that we really want to be together.
I
It's been a
love
lot
that.
of years since that happened. And this is
Yeah,
we look forward to getting out on the road together and hanging out, having dinner together, or
it's
going
so
anywhere
important.
together. Yeah.
It's
So
so important
that's
because
the
you're with each other so much that you have to be
yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's no fun.
Yeah. And when there's no more fun in it, what's the sense of doing it no matter how popular you
100%.
are or whatever job you have in life? If it gets to be a job, stop it.
I've always said when it comes to music, if you're not having fun doing music, there's no reason to be in music because all the rest of it is not fun at all.
Yeah. Well, that's why we keep also the politics out of music. People
Yeah,
don't go out, they have political views, they go out to have fun. And so we try to
exactly.
keep everything positive. We don't want to
I
burden them
love that.
with our view on anything.
I love that. You know, that was the beautiful thing being on Shiprock because we were on Shiprock during the whole week of the inauguration.
Yeah.
And I was like in
Yeah.
another world. I came back and people were asking me stuff. I have no idea. I've been disconnected from the world for the
Yeah.
past week.
It felt good, didn't it?
Oh, fuck yeah. I don't even want to talk about it. I didn't even want to look at it. I don't even want to know what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
ignorance is bliss because I'd rather just be all positive because most of that stuff isn't going to affect my life in any way. So why am I
Yeah.
stressing about it? You know?
I mean, I never figured it out whether they do it in sports or they do it in religion or they do it in anything. Why would you want to divide the people that like you
Right.
anyway? I never seen the purpose of it all. And they don't go out, whether it be to a game or to a concert. That's their release away from the real world for a while. Why do you want to put them back into the real world
No
and ruin
doubt.
their day?
Exactly. Music's the best therapy and the best
Yeah.
escape. Let's keep all the bullshit out of it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about ACDC that we do because it's a very simple band, straight in your face, no bullshit music.
There it is.
Music,
Well,
you know,
you guys
the
are
music speaks for
good at it.
itself.
And you're good. You're good at it. You're going to kill it here at the South Florida Fair tonight. And why don't you tell everybody how they can hit you guys up on socials, on the web? I know if you go to your website, it leads to all
Yeah.
the other socials.
Yeah. Well, we got www.dirtydeedstribute.com. And it's also, what is it, ACDC, the ACDCexperience.net. We have a new website now. It's
Very cool.
acdcexperience.net. When they go on that, they can find out anything. They can link onto other links. The tours schedules there, videos are there. Anything that they want to know about us is kind of there for them. They go on
Yeah,
that.
they have to check it out because if they didn't know, I go to your website. It's like going to ACDC's website. Basically, it's a real deal. You guys are the real deal.
Thank you so much for that compliment. I guess
My
we're doing our
pleasure.
job.
There you go. And thanks for entertaining us, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thanks for having us. Love to be on.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.